Good evening, guys. How y'all doing? I have just got in, had to do a lot of stuff. We got a deep freezer today, and I've been running my butt off all day trying to A, get the deep freezer, B, get it loaded, C, get it home, get it in the house, and it was like 100 and something degrees. So Blackie's whooped this evening. A little bit hoarse too, as you can tell, but we're going to try to make it through tonight. Wow. I went out and did my next installment of the canteen cooking series. That will be posting tomorrow. And in it, I'm going to be dealing with steaming and how to do immersion heating. And it was literally, I mean, I was out there and just rivers of sweat were running off of me. And it was, the rain was coming, but it hadn't got here. So that humidity had just packed in like that. And it literally, I mean, you had to do nothing, just stand there and breathe, and sweat just went pouring off of you. It was miserable, but we got her done. Hiram, good evening. Craig, good evening. Tim Pierce, good evening. Okay, Tim Pierce, question. What is meant by the term axe steel? What is meant by the term to hang an axe handle? Okay. Axe steel. These are predominantly a form of spring steel that are designed to take repeated impact and not break. They would bend before they would break. Think like machete, but a lot bigger, tougher piece of steel. You can have stronger, sharper steels, but the problem with it is they can't take the shock of impact, and the grain within the steel will start cracking, and the hunk will fall out of the axe. You'll also hear sometime when you're reading the old books, they talked about in really cold winter, you'd warm up the axe in the fire, beside the fire, actually warm up the head before you went chopping, because it might bust. And we're talking about those below zero loggers, that hunk of the axe would break because it couldn't take the shock because it was so cold it became brittle. Also, to hang an axe, what they meant is you had got the axe head started onto the handle and you turned it so that the axe handle is, straight down, the head's at the bottom, and you would whack the bottom of the axe handle, and this would cause the axe head to work its way up. You're pile driving the wood in, and the axe handle would advance up. If you do it the other way and you beat the axe handle down, it'll go crooked. But if you invert it, hang it, and hit it, and let it walk up, it will naturally stop when it gets up against a shaving or something of it being forced up. And you can stop, cut that off, reshape it, and do it again until it fully comes home, leaving a little bit of wood sticking out of the top. So you can then put the wedge in, hammer it in, make sure everything's glued up, cut it off, paint it, you're good to go. I did some axe stuff like 4 or 5 years ago. There's somewhere in my stuff talking about hanging an axe, and I talked about it. So it's been a while, but that's what those terms mean. If you go look at the U.S. Forestry Service, there is a video talking about how to sharpen an axe, how to hang an axe, and stuff like that. Really good stuff. Battle Rattle, hello. Jeff, good evening to Newfoundland, Canada. Hope y'all are a lot cooler than we are down here. James Singer, hello to South Carolina. James, hello there. Dakota's in the house. Hello, brother. Kodak, good evening. Jeff, good evening. Tiny Titan, hello there. How are things up in Oregon? Riverbank, good evening. To Germany, hello there. Kevin Smith, hello. Justin, good evening, brother. Justin's in the house. George, good evening. 2020, good evening. Wow, we got a lot on here already. Gray Wolf, you made it. Uh-oh, you laid up, Gray Wolf. What you doing? Big E Knife Nut, good evening. David Burkhalter, hello to Orlando. Cal Tipper, good evening. Splitting Knox, LA, best place on earth. Yeah, you know about Lower Alabama. Jeff, 97 in North Carolina. I hear you. Ooh, we're so ready for fall, ain't we? Elvin, good evening to Puerto Rico. Yeah, already 55, 60 on chat. Wow. Heat index in D.C., Washington, North Carolina, 106. About what it was here. And you know what I mean when that you can see the rain and that humidity just keeps going up and up and up, and the temperature's like 97, 98, and you feel it going in and out of your lungs. It's like you're smothering trying to breathe. Oh, I hate this time of the year. It's just my worst time of the year. Like breakfast club in here, but for supper, I like that. Metal welding. Metal Works. Blackie, seen a lot of your fire kits, but have never seen you with a magnesium bar for any reason. I have used magnesium bars many years ago, and I got away from them because where I live, where we got lighter fatwood everywhere, it's more effective than a magnesium bar. Yeah, the magnesium burns 3,000 degrees, but it's gone like that. For the amount of time I could take shaving that bar to get a bar of dust, I could take a block of fatwood and do the same thing. But when I ignite the fatwood, it's going to burn about 2 minutes, and the magnesium is going to burn like 3 seconds. And so just because of where I am and the resource I have available to me everywhere, the magnesium bar didn't work out that great for me. And so it was a lot of work to get a big flash, but it didn't necessarily do any better than a hunk of that stump right over there. And so that's the reason I just stayed away from it. Stephen, good evening. Jeff, 11 Celsius right now. Okay. Well, let's see, 11. 0 is, it's pretty cool where you're at. Oh, no. Gray Wolf, got something in your eye. I'm sorry to hear that. About 52, yeah. Diane, good evening. Glad to see you. Susan Hammerschmidt, hello there. 99 and Terry, 99 in Macon, Tennessee. All right. Dakota, Blackie, I got one win of them sewers you got. Okay. Sewers I got? Did you mean to say sewers? 2020, first snow of the mountains. Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please. Oh, making suspenders. Gotcha. Diane, Ohio looks like a desert. Grass is brown. Same way here. We've been really low on rain. Usually, when we have a cold, wet winter like the past one we have a dry spring, and then sometime June, July, it started raining afternoon. And we did get a few clouds here, but not anything like we should. And the rivers are low. The grass is brown and dead. It looks like winter. If you take a picture down the county road, and if I hand it to you, so what season of the year? Down here, you'd probably say December because everything's so brown. But our humidity is so high that keeps our fire chance real low because of high humidity. If we had humidity like California, Alabama would burn. But high humidity fixes that. Tracy, yeah, he wishes he's back in Duluth now. Taxman, good evening. Oh, cool. We got the old B-17 engines that were magnesium. Cool. Texas Joe, good evening. Ashton, hello to South Georgia. Oh, sewing machine. Oh, cool. Yeah. I hope you do well with it. Like I said, you saw what mine did. You can do a lot of work with that thing, especially for prototyping. Works really well. Big E, what kind of advice would you give an up-and-coming channel with only like 1,700 subscribers? One, pick the month. Let's say you're going to do it in September, okay? Go ahead and get your videos edited and posted but they don't go live until, and that way you can get them filled up. And so you say, okay, September, post one a day for the entire month of September. Even if it's just a 5-minute video, post one a day. Then go back and look and find out which of those videos had the biggest response. Piggyback on that. So if this video was about a certain type of knife, go more in depth on that knife. Use it, show it again. See what your audience likes and then apply it. Because the way that the algorithm are set up today, it doesn't matter what we produce. It's what the audience likes. And so you really got to listen to your audience. Learn your analytics on your channel. Look at those. Under audience, it's going to tell you the best time that your audience is on. And that changes. For mine, usually it was like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. But since June, it's actually changed to like 11 in the morning, where more of my followers are on. So I started posting earlier because I was missing out. And a lot of people say, well, I'll just post at midnight. That's the time I do it. You're dead buried down in the feed. It's about the time your audience is coming online. It's about the time you're popping up in the feed. See, if you just post it randomly sometime during the day, you can be buried so far down that page, so far down to scroll to get down to it. The average person ain't even going to have time to find you. And so that's advice I'd give you is that, Hope that helps. Larry, well, hello to Opp, Alabama. Cool. Well, Rob Outdoors, welcome to the channel and welcome to the group. Feel free to ask questions. We'll do our best to answer them. Battle 76, yeah, 90s. We are so ready for fall, every one of us. John, I don't believe they are. Not quite yet. I think they start in 1st of October is when they'll actually be open on the weekend. So they're Monday through Friday, like 10 to 4 Monday through Friday right now. But give the ladies down there a call. Tell them you're coming in. See what, they might open up for you. Who knows? Because, like Jonathan Frisbee, by God, he walks in, we walk out with, $2,000 worth of stuff. They'll open up for that. So Jonathan wants to go in. Yeah, they don't care who Blackie is. Jonathan coming is the question. So Metalworks, Blackie, is it just pine or fatwood, or will spruce and fir? They can, but they tend to put it at the end where the limb joins the main trunk. They'll have a little bit of it in those. But pines, especially our pines down here in the heat is the secret element. Because in the spring, they start pumping sap like crazy. And then the heat kind of percolates that. And it causes that to basically kind of cure the core of the wood. And that's what makes the entire center of that tree fat wood. Not every pine is going to turn to fat wood, but a large percentage of them. And if it dies during the summer at the height of whenever the pine sap is there, that whole tree may turn to it. And in some of my videos, you'll notice when I'm over here at my little thing, I got this stump sitting on the ground that's about that thick and about that big around. That's the center core of a great big pine tree. It's solid fat wood. It'll never rot. It'll be over 30 years, And so that's what causes them to turn. And you'll find them at the other types right there where the limb joins the main trunk, right in that like 2-3 inches around in there. You may find a little bit in the very core. Our pine's what really makes it. David Burkhalter, is there a channel website that lists upcoming bushcrafter meetups? Not that I know of, but, anybody in the comments, of a event coming up near you or something in the next few months, post it up there. Let's hear it. Share with everybody else. I know that we got the Gather thing is coming up. Not this weekend, but next weekend in West Virginia. And I'll be up there for that. And then the 1st of October, I'll be doing my Silver Wolf class. And then I've got an impromptu just camp out that anybody wants to show up out at the lake on the 18th, 19th, and 20th of October. And then the first to know, in November will be the Georgia Bushcraft Fall Gathering up here near Athens, Georgia. And then there is the Rewild Gathering that's going to be down in Florida in December, and I'll be at that. But anybody else got something, throw it up there. Paul, good evening. Well, Mike, hello to Dade, Georgia. Yeah, Gray Wolf, that's probably what happened. Something got in your eye, or something got on your hand and you wiped and you didn't think, and you get stuff in your eye. I've got a scar on my eye over here where a hunk of glass got me. Something exploded, and a glass tube exploded, and it buried a hunk into my eye. That was a lot of fun going for that one. I get to the ER, big ER, and there's swamp. We got a lot of other things coming in, etc. And they put me in the exam room like number one. I'm sitting there like this, literally holding my eyeball still so I don't blink, because that hunk of glass is sticking out of my eyeball. It's about an eighth of an inch sticking out. I'm sitting there holding it to keep it from moving. I didn't want to move my eye and tear something else up. And literally right outside the door is the big board where they got all the who's what, where, and everything else. And the two doctors walk up to it and they look up at it. And the first doctor says, "Okay, I'll take number 32. You take number 1." And the guy, "Whoa, what?" And the first doctor spun around. "What?" He said, that's an eye exam. He said, "So?" He said, "I'm an OBGYN." And he said, "You have the same basic medical as me. So just figure it out, okay?" And he turned and took off. Well, he literally turns around and the door is open. He's looking at me and went, "Hi, Doc, come on in. I'll talk you through it." And I said, "Look in these cabinets, and there's going to be an eye set. And it's going to be labeled eye set. And it's going to have 3 kinds of dyes. One that'll do this, one that'll do that, and the third one will do this. You want to take it out, put the first drop in. Then we're going to gently pull that piece of glass out. You're going to hold pressure on the eye to make sure it glues back together. You're going to put the second drop of stuff in there and make sure there's nothing bad in the eye. And then you're going to put that third drop in there to make sure I ain't leaking. It'll stain the eye, and you can see if it's leaking fluid out of the inside. If it's leaking fluid, we got to go to surgery and sew my eye up. If it ain't leaking, it sticks back together, we're good to go." And that's exactly what he did. He got a nurse in there who knew more than me, and between the two of them, they did my eye exam. But I had to talk the doctor through an eye, how to pull glass out of my eye. That was a lot of fun. He never gave me anything for pain. He just pulled it out of my eye. It was a lot of fun. Diane, well, I'm glad you enjoy it. There'll be, oh God, there's so much coming. Oh my God. That's like just the first 2. So I've been setting up my recipes for quite a while now, getting ready. So. Jerry, I just bought the old Pathfinder stove. Have you used the pot stand as a stand to raise and lower it inside the windscreen to adjust the heat level? I have not yet. The Pathfinder stove that I used on my bush pots, I put, and we're talking about the round bush pot, I turn it right side up, the thing on top, and build a fire around it, or set it over coals. Or I will turn it upside down and build a wood twig fire in it, and then set it so the pot's like 3/4 way on it and off of it, and do that. And I've demonstrated that in videos before. And on the Mod 40 Swiss set, I've used it very similar like that as well for that windscreen. So there's a lot of them. Garrett, good evening. Satchmo, good evening. It'll kill, good evening. Cool. Tim Pierce, question. I searched your past videos for canoe camping. I am interested in your take on a 16-foot fiberglass canoe for capacity for a 3-week float in Upper River, North Carolina. You can do that on a 16 footer. Now you're gonna have, if you're gonna only have one supply, you're not resupplying en route. Um, you're gonna have to run what time of the year, how much heat you got to deal with. Powdered things and stuff to make your beverages are going to be your best friend. Kool-Aids, flavors, whatever. Having some way to filter your water, absolutely. Food, you don't have. I would carry like a third of canned food, of something like ravioli, stuff like that. Then bag food, water, add water type meals of whatever. And third, a little bit of fresh stuff that will keep a while, depending on the time of the year. See, your transition for that long of a trip, the first day or two is actually the roughest because you're used to eating McDonald's and you're used to eating, whatever. It ain't, that's what there is tonight. It was, I could choose whatever. And you kind of got to get your mindset of tonight will be this, breakfast will be this tomorrow. And you always plan out your menu. And the biggest problem you got is how much food, water, and everything. So lay out a menu, how many days, how many breakfasts, how many lunch, how many dinners, how many snacks. Oh, always forget, never forget snacks. Things you can make at night around the fire, like make bread, big boost when you haven't had any in a while. Make muffins, big boost when you hadn't had any in a while. Things like that. And then I have canoed for up to 4 weeks and longer out of a 17 footer and was pretty happy with it, so it can be done. You're just going to have to properly stage it all out. And remember, as you go along, you got to rebalance your load because you're consuming all that extra food. See, and so you're going to have to reduce those packs, reduce whatever, and rebalance your canoe as you go along because of that. After a week, you'll notice a little bit. So. One second. My brother asking for something, and quick answer. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, now where were we? Okay, yeah. I finally got a load bearing harness and a belt that fits me for your backpack. Cool. That's a very good way to carry stuff. And you see a lot of that popping back up these days. I'm seeing a lot of harnesses showing back up. Paw, you can buy fatwood at Lowe's, Home Depot. Yeah, they don't have a box of it now that you can get right next to the firewood displays. Eric, Blackie, glad to join you again and got your large and small possibles bag. I love them to go with your sack. Thank you very much. Glad you're liking it. Andy Knight, good evening to South Georgia. Susan, I'm glad you enjoy them. There'll be more of them coming up. Charles Martin, you know how you paint your canteens black, and it comes in black on Amazon. Yes, you can order them like that, I guess. But I just always paint it up, and whenever it gets scratched up, I'll just put another coat on it. But it will wipe that soot off a whole lot easier to me. I can add just a little bit of water in a paper towel, and it'll come off. But if on the metal, it never seems to want to do that. It always seems to want to just smear. Aaron, you just drank from your canteen. Was it barbecue spray paint? What does it do to the canteen cup? Does it fleck off when you're taking it out? No, actually, it holds up really well. And if you look at a lot of my cook sets, they're all black from being painted. And like my Swiss stove, I really need to repaint it because it's kind of dulled around the edges. And I reach it without making a big fuss. And the only thing, no, it ain't the only thing hanging up. Hold on. And why does Blackie put up the tarp? Because all my stuff is back here behind me. And if I didn't do that, everybody would be going, Blackie in the upper right corner. What is that? But see how the paint's, that's probably been 5-6 years since I painted that. It'll stay on there. And since it's barbecue spray paint, it's good up to 1,200-1,400 degrees. See? And these type of things I'm going to put in the fire with something in them. And so the water or the liquid or the whatever, I'm not going to try to cook something at 1,400 degrees. So usually I keep the temperature well below that in cooking. See? Well, water, a canteen full of water sitting there. Have you ever seen the thing where they take a paper bag and cook eggs in the coals on a paper bag? You just got to grease the bag, and you can cook bacon in a paper bag. You can cook eggs in a paper bag because it keeps it below the burning temperature of 400 something degrees. And so little tricks like that. And so the barbecue spray paint does the best because it was meant to go on a barbecue. And from definition of that, some idiot is going to buy spray paint it, and then 10 minutes later use it to cook family hot dogs. And so it must be less toxic paint, or otherwise they wouldn't just specify it as barbecue paint. So that's the reason I use it. Charles Martin, thank you very much. Yeah, beef jerky and Pop-Tarts for the win. Been there, done that. Gets old, don't it? Hard cheese, yeah. North Carolina, Piedmont, good evening. Okay, hold on. Riverbank Viking. Here in Germany, the government wants to forbid knives longer than really small because we have lots of public knife attacks. Up to now, just blades were legal. I know, I've heard that. Usually they ban guns and they ban knives and they ban everything. It never works. It never, ever works. Yes, Charles, this is, I got it from Grouch. This is British Desert Camo from the Gulf Wars. Right. Okay, Battle Rattle, Blackie, and everybody in chat, what are some comfort items, if any, that you may take with you that may not be necessary? A lot of times I'll bring a book if I'm kind of into it, bring it along to read at night. That's a comfort thing to me. Lifesavers, things like that are really good as on the trail or busy out there in the woods. Just pop one in the mouth. It's a little treat, gives you a little bit of a boost, etc. I'll sometimes bring other things just depending on the opportunity. I'll bring a different pocket knife, to sit there and whittle with or do something with, just to try out that knife and things like that. And so there's a lot of things you can do other than just sit there and stare at the fire and wait for morning. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. And whatever it is you're going to bring as a comfort item, make sure that it's something that's going to really serve a purpose and not just sit there to look at it. Something you want to practice with. So if you're bringing a butt 110 with you because you want to practice carving a stick for whatever, maybe you've got a U.S. Army mess kit and you want to make that stick to lock on the handle, try that out, or carve a chair, the sticks to make a chair or a table or whatever. Bring some bank line and try braiding or making nets. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. Find things that interest you and that you want to spend your time practicing. Okay, we get on down to where we're at now. It'll kill. Talking about fatwood, some people make it with lamp oil and other chemicals. You can simply soak all that fatwood is the natural turpentine that has been produced by the pine tree, has infused the wood. And so, yeah, you could technically make it, I guess, by soaking wood in something. It could probably be done. Yeah, Calamity Jane, baby wipes and chocolates. Yes. Baby wipes are not to be underestimated. They are great in camp, especially whenever you're trying to go real lean, carrying a pack of them, be able to kind of clean up at night, especially if you've been sweating a little bit. Definitely get the groin, get the armpits and stuff to keep chafing to a minimum, because that salt that you've secreted out, it starts drying, it starts acting like sand, and it starts irritating the skin. Boudreaux's butt paste, best stuff ever invented for chafing. And I've recommended it for years. It really makes a difference. Craig Dogs, do you have any children, Blackie? Any tips for caring with a family? Me and my wife were not able to have kids. We wanted it really, really bad, but we just simply weren't able to. As far as tips for the family, activities, things for the kids to do. A bored child is detrimental. We're old. We want to sit there and just enjoy the music of the birds and kick back. The kids want something to hunt and find. And so find activities, challenges, something to keep the kids interested, and wear them out. Don't just hand them the phone and say play video games, because it doesn't wear them out. You want them to go to sleep. So you need activities that wear them down. Pine cone gathering contests. Gather sticks for the fire. Who can gather the most sticks wins this piece of chocolate. Whatever. Little things like that. Keep them involved. Keep them committed into the thing. And they'll enjoy it. They'll want to come back. And they'll think they're being part of the group. That's the best I can tell you. I worked for years with the Boy Scouts. And let me tell you, you got to keep them engaged. Because if you ever get them bored, you'll never get them back. The One Knife Pro, hello to Western North Carolina. Oh, cool. Gordon, you got one of those like that. That's cool sharpening set. Garrett, correct. By painting it black, you can put it in direct sunlight and it will warm a little bit. Oh, cool. Andy Knight. I was asked about that today. I went through Walmart to do something, and back in the day, not many years ago, when I was running my sporting goods in Walmart here, and I had this guy come up and said, "Where are the AA 410s?" And I said, "I ain't been here in a couple of years, dude. I can't tell you." And but 410s are very scarce. So if you found some, grab a hold of them. They're easy to reload without hardly any reloading. You just get the components from online sources, and they're very easy to reload without any fancy equipment. We used to reload them all the time, but they are pricey, so save those hulls. They're worth gold. Susan, I saw and enjoyed that video with you and Bear taking a walk down that country road. Kept expecting you to see a rattlesnake. We were too. That is prime snake country right there. And just prime snake country. And like I said, when we walked up, I saw at ground level, how thick it was. And I saw these leaves do like that. The bush do like that. And I heard just a little bit. That was probably the tail of one. He was pulling it back up under there. So I pointed it out to him. I said, "Oh, we got one right there." And he comes walking up. Here comes Bear and walks right up to it. I'm like, "Dude, you're within strike range." "Well, I'm looking at this." That could be a 5-foot rattler in there, and you're within 3 feet of it. Them little leaves, he's looking out. He can see you. You can't see him. And I'm like, I'm going to have on camera here Bear being dingleberry and getting rattler bit right here. But he didn't get bit. But I was thinking about it right there. Ken Albert, good evening. Jeff, hello there. Yeah, Paw. Biggest and smallest pine cone contest. Exactly. Get them involved. Get them doing something. Yeah, Charles Martin, light on that phone and keep them awake. You don't want them. You want them to run till they're wore out. You know. It'll kill. Blackie, do you know anything about Joe Pye weed? Afraid I don't. Yeah, uh, when I was real little and didn't want to go to bed, my granddaddy would take me on Sleepy Bear Patrol. Now, this works for y'all trying to get the little ones to go to bed. You're wanting them to lay down and be quiet. They are wanting to fight against that. And the more you tell them to be quiet, the more they flip it on its head. When they get like that, put them up on your shoulder and say, okay, we are going on Sleepy Bear Patrol. You are awake soldiers, stay on duty. We are not going. And you talk to them, and you start slowly walking from room to room. If they go to crying, let them cry. Go, that's it. Keep singing. Keep singing. We're on Sleepy Bear Patrol. Come on. And when they start getting quiet, you bounce them on the butt. Wake up, wake up. We're on Sleepy Bear Patrol. Come on, come on. We're on duty. Do not fall down, soldier. Come on, stay up. And they'll start fighting to go to sleep. I've demonstrated this to multiple parents. I'm talking about, I just can't get my son or my daughter to go to sleep. Give them to me. Let's go. And we'd go on Sleepy Bear Patrol walking in, and it wouldn't be 20 minutes. It'd be out cold, and you go, nope, 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 bouncing them on the butt. Come on, wake up, wake up, wake up. And you could drop them 6 inches onto the deck. They won't even wake up. They're fighting to sleep now, see? So you put them up on your shoulder and tell them Sleepy Bear Patrol and start walking. And after you've done that just a few times, all you got to do, okay, it's bedtime. It's Sleepy Bear Patrol. You'll get them up on your shoulder and they'll just flop. They'll go, can we avoid Sleepy Bear Patrol? I'm tired. You just want to skip it tonight? But what about Sleepy Bear? No, can we skip it tonight? I want to go to bed. Okay, go to bed. It works, guys. I'm here to tell you it works. Craig, I'm glad to help. Lambo, hello to Rainsville. Yes, Susan. Bear's one that had that near miss. Tennessee Smoky. Sorry, YouTube just decides that nobody needs to know. I am not on that side, I guess, of their interest field. And so not worthy of notifications. Craig Dogs, Blackie, did you do much forging? Back in the 80s and early 90s when I was heavily into rendezvousing, I was playing around with it with several blacksmiths. I had my own forge, which I've long since sold, and I had my own anvil. And I made, just projects that I needed, like flint strikers and tent pegs and the stuff that you hook on tents and tent poles to hang lanterns and clothes on and all that type of stuff. I could make all that stuff. Crooked awls, I could make all that stuff. But I got away from it years ago and focused more on gun work and being a gunsmith than I did on blacksmithing. Now, Bear was a professional blacksmith for a while. He worked at a living history thing over here in Georgia. That was a big, like tourist trackman. He was the blacksmith. And so he's got thousands of hours of beating on iron that I don't have. So he's really the one in the group besides me. Yeah, he did. He did that PSA about it. He saw one the next day. That one, that is it's just the way the tint was on it. What it is that green tart we had back there, and that green, your camera or whatever, it washed together. It is actually the standard brown color. All the Red Hawks and all my stuff is that standard brown. It may be a little lighter, a little darker, depending on what the mill made this month, but it'll be a brown. I don't have them made. The only green one that you can get is in the Cordura, and that's from my niece Trinity. She sells those. So if you want a Cordura red hawk, yeah, red hawk with the zippers, Trinity will make those in the green color Cordura, like that Hunter Forest green. But what you paid for, if you paid for to me, then it's going to be the brown. Satchmo, oh yeah, I'm wait. I am so ready to be out there camping right now. Andy, no, I don't think I've seen that. Mitchell, well, thank you very much. But 112, good evening to Rome, Georgia. Preacher man, I hear you. Floyd Smith, thank you very much. I'm hanging in there. Got a little bit of a headache. Today kind of drained me, but I'm hanging in there. Trooper in the 80s tomorrow. That's an improvement. I hope it's an improvement for you. Lambo, yeah, he's a next April he retires from his professional career, and I'm gonna see if I can get him set up doing something else. If he could do some blacksmithing stuff on the side and then sell that, like I sell haversacks and rucksacks and stuff, I think it'd be a worthwhile thing to do. He's got the skills, he's got the place. He just, why not give him something fun that he really enjoys to do? Thank you, Craig. Floyd Smith, yeah. Jeff, yes, I am. I'm like 94, 93 or 94,000 now. I hope by the end of the year to break 100,000. Lyric Vader, thank you very much. I'm just a redneck from Alabama. I consider myself just a woodsman trying to share. There are people with bigger, badder channels than me, and I respect that they're doing their best too. So you'll never hear me say I'm the greatest at anything, although I'm a better storyteller than some of them. I'll give you that. But I'm trying my best. Yep, night patrol for raccoons. Oh, Will, yeah, I saw that video that Mike Bellevue just posted on the engraved. They look good. I've never been a big fan of engraving. Now, like I said, the barbecue gun, I can understand that. At one time, I had a Uberti custom shop would occasionally put out something way over the top, and I had ended up with a 1860 Army with the fake ivory grips that were not just plastic. It's where you looked at the end of it and you could see the grain, so it looked like real ivory, and was that bright electric blue and had gold, looked like gold plated nipples in the thing and everything else in silver sight on it. Oh, that was my fancy gun, and I never shot it, to be honest. I would take it out, at the gun range, and everybody go ooh, would all look at it and go ooh, but it was always just too pretty. You know me, I antique all my guns. I want to look like an antique. I just never had the heart to antique that one, and I never shot it. I just kept it for that, and it stayed up on the mantle when you came into the house over the fireplace for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. And then a good friend of mine who portrayed an officer in Union cavalry in Civil War reenactment, he just had to have that thing. And every time I said no, he came up with a better whatever. And when he brought out a Series 70 Gold Cup 45, I couldn't say no. And so he ended up with that one. But they're pretty. I like what Mike's doing. I hope Mike's channel understand they're targeting him now. And they may start targeting me because of my Cap and Ball channel. Even though I've shifted over to Rumble and haven't posted anything in over a year over here on it. They may go after me and them old videos and want me to take them all down. If so, I'll just roll them over to Rumble. I've got them all saved. I always plan for that day. So. Yeah, Charles. Yeah, Sean Kelly does a little bit of blacksmithing too. He does good at it. Dan Davis, hello to North Louisiana. Jeff Conley, Blackie, what you see on YouTube is what you get in person. That's me. I've had a lot of people say that. They've come up to me at events and stuff and talked to me and said, "You're just like you are." Yeah, that's me. I'm not fake. And I have met several that had channels and were rather surprised how the person in real life was not the person you saw on the channel. But okay, I understand it's persona for them, but I'm me. So Will, would you ever do a video on the 1860 Henry? I have an 1860 Henry, not the Henry. I have the Birdie, one of the first ones imported in the United States. I got a 3-digit serial number. I got it in 1980. And yes, this fall I will do I think I've already done one on Rumble, though. I may have already done one on my Henry rifle over. Go look at my Rumbles. I forgot what all I have done, but as soon as it gets under 100 degrees, I'm going to go back to the range and start posting gun videos back over on Rumble. And I will do one on the Henry. Blackie, what's the strongest powder you found for the 36 caliber? Pyrex actually has higher velocity than a lot of the black powder. 777 can be used, and there's another one that they use a lot. But the problem I have with some of them, I forget the name of it right now off the top of my head, but it's supposed to be a black powder substitute, and it's often hyped up big time by some of the things. Is it says so right on the thing, don't compress because you spike the pressure. Yeah, you can get higher pressure, but you get crappy accuracy because this one, the pressures are going up and down. I want consistency for accuracy, and I get that out of Pyrex better than I do those other ones. Yeah, I'll get a higher velocity, but I got 1100 out of this one. I got 960 out of that one. I got 845 out of this one. I got 914. Every one of them will hit to a different point of aim, and so I would rather have my Pyrex where they're between 9 and 915, and I can just stack them in there. And so accuracy and speed are a big thing. So I would prefer to do those. Craig, Blackie with the new cooking series would love to see a video on the quality of life when cooking, like how to set up the coals idea, where to put all your stuff when cooking. That will be coming, especially when we get into bush pot cooking. I'm going to show you how to set up the kitchen. And definitely when we go to using Dutch ovens and stuff, you have to set up. Right now I'm with the canteen cup. That's the quick, easy stuff, And even then, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to lay it out to do it. Especially like today, we did how to make the hash brown omelet in boiling water right quick. That will be posting tomorrow. And then in my coming videos, I'll get more and more elaborate in the various ones. We're going to make spaghetti. We're going to make several other things out there, chili and stews, soups, all kinds of stuff. We're going to talk about order of operations, certain things you want to cook first and then take out, because it's okay for it to be put back in, and certain things need to be cooked in a certain order so it's all ready at one time, and half ain't cold and half ain't hot. you know. And so I will be covering all that, and definitely when we go to bush pot cooking, because now we're cooking in bigger volume, and you're cooking for 2 or 3 people, and we're gonna also be using that Swiss cook set, like the this one when we get to doing the bush pot cook sets and the 2 round of 1 quart and 2 quart Pathfinder I got, and we'll be interchanging those 3 around and showing different ways to utilize them. The Swiss is the most versatile because that extra pot I can heat up 2 things at the same time, and we'll do like dogs and beans one day. That's something that's easy and quick to do for the family, and I'll show. This is going to take me a while to do. This ain't going to be over in 3 or 4 days, guys. It might take me a year. It's going to become like a once a week video, I think, especially during the fall and winter when I can get out there and do it more. I'll just go out every day at lunch and cook something and do the videos. And that way I'm not just cooking a big thing. And once we get like my gathering, I may just start cooking one day, and because I'll have plenty of camp dogs that'll eat whatever I cook. And that way I don't feel bad. I don't want to cook it and go to waste. Same time, I can't eat everything. So there will be in depth about that. Ravenwood, hello there. Jeff Conley, good night. Thanks for coming in. Everything in place. Understand that. Trooper, only thing I ever did is when people would ask me what it was, I told them exactly what he was doing and why. You know, I wasn't negative about it. I realized he was trying to make a little bit of money by doing a negative ad, and I explained how that would make you money on YouTube. And, you know, I wished him luck, you know. But as far as taking it as a personal thing, I never took it personal. I come from a different era of suck it up, buttercup. We got a lot thicker skin than that. And, yeah, it takes pretty good bit to get under my skin. And then they're really surprised how fast I can go there once they push me to it. But, I took the higher ground. You know, he's doing what he's doing, trying to make a living. Good luck to him. You know. Will, how do you like the small Officer's Model 1911? They're great, compact, easy carry. They are. I had one for a long time, and then the wife ended up liking it more than me, and so it's a really good companion, especially if you realize that 0 to 21 feet is where 99% of all the problems are going to be at. That short little barrel don't give you any problem. It's fast to come out, takes care of business. And, you know, what is the self-defense in 45? All of them. That gun made its reputation with hardball. It don't need a hollow point. It's great when you add one, but it's one caliber that don't need a hollow point. It did its job, and the military used it without it. They used it with just hardball, and it was a really good stop. So that speaks volumes to how good it is for that job. Craig Dogs, canteen cups are great. I'm sure you forgot more tricks than most of us. I would love to hear everyone's favorite canteen hacks. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Every time I post a video, if there's something you think, put it on there. You know, I'm here to learn as much as you guys are, because I got my way of doing it. But that don't mean it's the only way. You may have a trick there that I didn't think about. Satchmo, how's the hats going? Need to get one. I believe my niece had some, or last time I talked to her, Heather had some, and I didn't put it down there in the description box. But down there in the description box, I put the military surplus place, and I put the place to order my haversacks. But freeze the video and get that. That's my niece Heather, that Tinkering Crafts Kentucky. And she is one to get the hats from. She'll take care of you. She is a bulldog boy. I had tried to get that American company to talk to me, and I had a little bit of, and then they just went silent on me. And I handed it off to Heather, and by God, she's a bulldog. She got them to talk to her, by God, and she got at. So I'm real tickled with her. American Prepper, well, hello. Mitchell, yeah, I have some cook sets, and your idea about barbecue spray paint. You get soot all over everything. But if you'll spray them down, it'll wipe off a lot of it. A lot of that soot is actually an oily. It's coming out of it's oily resins and stuff that didn't completely combust coming out of the wood. And it clings to the outside. It's like a grease. You just seem, I got tired of it being on my sleeping bag, being on everything I had inside of my pack would just be covered in soot after a season or two. So I went to doing it with the black like that. And when I get done and everything's cooled off, I'll take a rag or something, I'll wipe down the external, and normally I'll get 90% of it off. It's got that paint on it. And it really cuts down on me putting soot everywhere else. Oh, cool. Thanks. Wheels, too, it just said, guys, that Sportsman's Guide has those black water bladders that I was talking about for $20 a piece. Remember my canteen and water video talking about the big transport? They got them back in for $20. Excellent. Thanks. It's where I got mine. They've lasted for years and years. Love it. Gerard just bought the Pathfinder set with the square hounds. They're good. Mitchell from San Diego looking for property in Arizona. Good luck. A lot of people moving out of California. Michael, well, hello. You late, but you're here. We got time. We've only been on an hour. We got another hour to go. Jerry, so words don't hurt your feelings and ruin your day. No, they don't. I have had more individuals get their feelings hurt thinking that they could just mouth off at me and somehow that would. I had a manager one time at work that he was yelling and just raising Cain. And I mean, he's right here. He's about 2 inches off my nose. And he's just a beller. Of course, everybody else, there's probably 30 other employees standing there looking at her. And I'm just as calm as I am right now looking at him. He's calling me all kinds of names. And I'm worthless. I'm this, I'm that. He was trying to get me to quit because I was the highest paid employee. And if he can get me to quit, it'll bring the total payroll below a certain point and he'll get a bigger bonus. So he was trying to make me quit. I let him go. And he just kept going, getting louder and louder and louder. And finally, whenever he had about 5 minutes, yelled in my face. And finally said, "You got anything to say?" I said, "Yeah, your mouthwash ain't cutting it." And everybody fell down laughing. Scope ain't cutting it with you, dude. Yeah, you're going to have to work hard to get under my skin. But anyway. Bill Hines, hello. Backwoods Rambler, good evening. Gordon, I'm wanting a new 357, a Taurus and a Smith. Both are 8. What are your preferences? In the past, I'd have said Taurus because Taurus had an unconditional lifetime warranty. I don't know if that's changed, but I have worked gunsmithing on both of them. And in the past, I don't know if it's changed. In the past, the Taurus was just as good as the Smith, but it had an unconditional lifetime warranty. And the Smith did not. And I have had to get on the phone multiple times with Smith & Wesson to discuss where something got out of, Used to it was cranes that would be really tight, and then after you had maybe 1,000 rounds through the revolver, the crane would start getting a little bit loose on it in your groups, and it started shaving lead because that crane was getting slack, and it needed to be fitted a new crane. And I'd have to call up Smith and tell them I need you to fit a new crane to it. So the two, I would choose the Taurus. Me personally, going by old reference, I haven't bought a new one in a long time. Charles, I love the military style canteens in the surplus, but I'm kind of excited about getting the money up for the Pathfinder set. It is an improvement. I know, coming from the guy that's been showing most of my videos from the Army set. I love my Army set. Not getting rid of it. But having that big mouth that's big enough, I can get a bottle brush in there to clean this thing, is a distinct advantage. The fact that that bottom is nice and broad so I can heat it up easily. The fact it carries more capacity, it's well made, you know. And to be honest, because I'm a little bit of a skeptic, when they first brought those out 10, 15 years ago, whatever, for Pathfinder, I was kind of holding back because I wondered if that was going to hold up, or was going to be one of them things where you got a little bit of time in it, you put it in fire, and that seam would let go. They haven't. I mean, I've seen these things put in fires. I mean, blazing fires. In competitions trying to get water to boil like now because it's a timed event. And I haven't seen any of them melted apart or come apart or nothing. So I've been impressed with them. So I held off, but I got that in the canteen because I really like those butterfly handles. And I know Dave likes the L handle. And I've got both in Army canteens. But I've always just liked the butterflies better. Excuse me. Even though I got both kinds of U.S. Army canteens. And each one has some advantages, you know. But, yeah, I'm very happy with mine. And that's the reason I chose to do this this series with, because it is such a popular canteen and so available. And it is a distinct improvement in many ways over the Army set. Jim, I have a question about black powder. How safe is it to store Pyrex indoors, live in an apartment? Pyrex is like any other gunpowder, a modern gunpowder. It's a Class C flammable, which means it'll just burn really hot if you got a house fire, but it will not explode. Black powder is a Class A explosive, and it will blow up in a house fire. So of the two, if you live in an apartment, Pyrex is the safer of the two to have. It's also much harder to ignite, and so therefore it's less likely to have some other source accidentally ignite it. So of the two, I would pick that if I was living in an apartment like that. Preacher Man, yes, they are for portable drinkable water, is what those bladders are for. It's their equivalent of a jerry can for the European Army over there. And so a guy can flip it up and put it up on top of a ruck and hold on to the two handles and carry it to carry water and hook it on the side of trucks and stuff. And I've been very happy with mine. I've kept potable water in mine since I got it. And I've got mine. William Collins got his. Several other people got them at my recommendation. All of them come back and say, man, this is great. Especially where you can just squeeze the air out of it, you know, not have it some big thing. You can lay on it, you can sleep on the thing. One guy was using it on a hot night, so I just put my head on it, do something like a t-shirt over it, put my head on it. It was like a water bed for a pillow. It kept my head from being too hot. So Jerry, yeah. Reminds me of guys I knew in basic training who would eat raw onions so the drill sergeants would stay out of the face. Very true. Calamity Jane. The Pathfinder also makes one with an L-shaped handle. Not just the butterflies. They have the L-shape as well. The butterflies is a new addition. Most of them have been with the L. John Bentley, 3-day assault pack versus medium Alice with frame. If it's just overnight camping and stuff like that, 3-day assault pack. The Alice has too much space really for that. And to me, I don't like it because it keeps telegraphing further and further away from your back. And you end up having to lean way back, or you got to hunch over to carry it when it's full, unless you're toting something real light and fluffy and put a cinch strap around it and pull it tight. If you could only have one, get the Alice, because there's so much accessories available to it and everything, and you can rig it up. And if you go look at my playlist, and I believe it's Ground Pounder, I did a video about things I do to an Alice pack that may give you some ideas. You're welcome, Preacher Man. Oh, Riverbank, you want me to do a cook and eat on it? That's possible, and very possible. May do that. I'm doing a soup one coming up really soon, but then I'll be going back and doing more recipes. Just because I touch on one doesn't mean. Right now I'm laying the foundation. Like today I did about steaming and immersion heating. But next we're going to soups and stuff like that. And I'm going to make potato soup, show you a down and dirty, easy way to make potato soup in the field. And then we'll go into instant soups and stuff like that. And part of my steaming video today, I talked about gathering wild edibles like wood sorrel, like greenbrier, and several others that are readily available down here, dock, in my area, and taking them and steaming them. To A, to sterilize them, B, to cook them just enough where they're still a leafy green to eat, and then you can put it as part of something else. I like wood sorrel with fish. I like to take a relatively small bass and clean it, and then stuff it with wood sorrel, and then bake it. And we'll see if I can do that. A lot of that stuff, got to wait till we get to the bigger cook sets. Canteen cut's a little odd for that, but we'll get there. Hector, Blackie, all my gear in stainless steel is from Self-Reliance Outfitters. Would you know what the lifespan of stainless steel is being used in the fire all the time? As long as there's water in it and you don't boil it dry, it'll probably last the rest of your life. That's true of all the stainless steel. Think about how many World War II canteens are still showing up in use, not just some collector's item, but being used. And those were stainless steel canteens made back, or aluminum canteens a lot of times, made back 70 or 80 years ago. God knows how many fires they've been in. So as long as you keep water in it, if I put this in the fire to heat it, make sure it's full or 3/4 of the way full. You don't want to put like 2 fingers worth of water in the bottom of this and put it in there, because then you might cook that seam out. But with modern machinery, modern welding technique, and etc., I'm pretty sure that's welded. That's not soldered. That's welded right there in a factory. Probably by where this, I'm guessing, guys, but understanding industrial, I'm guessing that these two halves are brought together. Like this goes in one side and this goes in the other, and it pushes together, and they pass a current through it, and that forces it to weld together uniformly right there real quick. And so it's virtually one piece of steel. The cups the same way, that tack welding on the back, plus SRO and them have a return policy. So if you just get the unlucky one out of the blue, and Murphy's on every assembly line, if you get any problems, contact me. I talked to Dave personally, talking about knives, give you an idea how good their warranty is. And I'm not a fan of batoning. And I bought that butcher knife they got and was doing a review of it. And somebody had asked, and I got Dave's number. I called up Dave and I said, Dave, is this thing guaranteed even if you're batoning And he said, yes, it's guaranteed, even if it's platonic. If you put that canteen in the fire and it comes apart, they'll give you another one. You can't ask for a better thing than that. But lifetime, as long as you use any kind of common sense, it should last your life. That's what I'm betting on, at least the rest of mine. Calamity Jane, can you tie up a medium Alice without a frame? Yes, you can simply run a strap around it and cinch it. You know, like a cinch on a purse. But go around the middle, right along the top. And I have run it underneath the flap before, of like each one of the pockets. Just ran a strap underneath that like a piece of paracord with a Bushcraft zip tie, which is a jam knot, and just pulled it tight and pulled the pack up to keep it from expanding out backwards and just keep the load more centered. That's one of the reasons I like the German Alpine better. It's not that deep, and it keeps the load focused against me, and it just carries better for me. And it comes down to a personal choice. My friend Dan Lutz, big old huge guy that he was 6'7" and nearly 400 pounds, and he wore an Alice pack like I'd wear a haversack. You know, he put on his back, and it was a little bitty thing to him. He could carry a large Alice, and it seemed to just fit him perfectly. You put it on me, and it's like, you know, I'm a turtle. So it comes down to whatever packs you got and how well they work is how they fit you as well. Will, who's your favorite band and singer? Oh, dear God. I am a plethora of contradictions, dude. If I was going to say my favorite female singer, it'd be Stevie Nicks. Favorite band, AC/DC. And Fleetwood Mac right behind that. Country music singer, Waylon Jennings. I mean, we spend the rest of the night, you'd be bouncing people you ain't never heard before, and etc. You know, best group I ever heard for harmony, Ladysmith Black Mombasa. You know, and then I also like a lot of foreign overseas heavy metal bands. So I'm from that era. You know, I was when rock was good. What is the place to buy the water bladder? Sportsman's Guide. Go look on there and they should have it. Look under, do a thing for canteen or water bladder search, and it should bring it right up. K99, hello to Alaska. Gray Wolf, what do you think of pack frames, Blackie? I've used everything from Trapper, Nelson's to Alice, even leaving toward camp trails, freighter lately. Of those, I've used the Alice by far the most. I have used a Trapper Nelson before, but Alice has been the one I've used with the shelf, and I've got a shelf to go on my frame for that. And if you're going to hand me like the rib meat off of a moose and tell me I got to tote this 90 pounds somewhere, it'd be on that kind of frame. The Trapper Nelson is a great frame for its time, but I like the fact that Alice bows out further against the back. And so when I put that kind of big, heavy flat weight on me, I want that gap, let air flow behind me better than the Trapper Nelson. Just my limited experience with the Trapper Nelson. Clay, did your video on cooking post today? No, it will cook tomorrow. It will post tomorrow. The one I did today will be posted tomorrow. I got to edit it when we get off of here. Eric, thank you very much. Yeah, exactly, Scott. Yeah, purslane is actually really good and healthy for you. Calamity Jane, thank you very much. Good night, Matt Thompson. Thanks for coming in. Hector, how about Charlie Daniels? Oh, heck yeah. But I mean, Charlie Daniels. Oh my God. The Killer. The Oh my God, all the bands. I've seen Metallica, Motley Crue, Queensryche, one that did Cherry Pie, Cinderella, Bon Jovi. I said Metallica already. Van Halen. I've seen Travis, uh, not Ronnie Travis, but I've seen Ronnie Millsap, Travis, Alabama. I'm in the state where Alabama's at. Okay. I've seen Alabama. I've seen all kinds of country bands, rock bands, easy listening bands, some weird bands you ain't never heard of bands. So, yeah, I have a very. Remember the old days when you had the CD players, you could drop in different CDs and they'd mix them up? It'd drive people nuts coming to my place because you might hear gospel, you know, Elvis Presley gospel, good stuff. Flip that, and you'd hear Metallica or Judas Priest, followed up by Kathy Mattea singing something from the Civil War soundtrack, flipping Waylon Jennings, and just you never knew what was coming out of the speakers around me. Well, Johnny Cash and Marty Robbins are really good too. The Man in Black. Battle Rail, I hear you. 66290. It looks like Dora the Explorer. I hear you. Stupid stop motion. Are you and Hope fans of musicals? We have watched quite a few of them. Just enjoy what was there. Of course, the Gilbert and Sullivans. Paint Your Wagon. That's not one box to most people's mind and things like that. But, you know, if it was fun and interesting, worked for me. You know, Paint Your Wagon's got some of the greatest songs in it. I mean, you know, Wandering Star, stuff like that. I mean, they just good, funny movies. ZZ Top, of course. David, hello. We've got a little bit of time left. Jeff, I hear you. I've had to carry 150-pound hogs where it was only 150 pounds. I weighed 150 pounds. The hog weighed 150 pounds, and I've had to carry that out on my back without any frame before because they were killing hogs down in that bottom down there, and you got to tote them back up to the truck, and that's 200 or 300 yards, and it's up a hill out of that swamp. Yeah, they'd gut the hog, and that means it was only 150 pounds, and you put the two front legs on either side of your neck, and the head's up against the back of your head, and you'd walk up there with blood dripping out of the carcass. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The flies were a lot of fun too, doing that. Guns N' Roses, yeah. Oh, yeah. Leonard Skinner, oh, yeah. Y'all remember the Midnight Special on NBC? You know, Saturday Night Live went off, and then it was, you know, Midnight Special. We got to actually see bands, not just hear them on the radio. You got to see a band. That was in the days before video and everything else. You'd heard them, but you didn't know what they looked like until you actually got to see them on TV like that. And the Midnight Special. Oh, Wolfman Jack, Chuck Berry, you know. Uh, oh, yeah, there were a lot of great, great acts back in the day. We had really good cars, really good whiskey, and our music was awesome. Hector, have a good night. Well, thank you very much, Jim. Don Kirshner's rock concert, yes. Molly Hatchet, Leonard Skinner, yeah. Jerry Down, 25 liters sounds like it. If it's black and it's got two handles on it, one on each end, like rope handles, that's it. Charles Martin, the best music came out of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Yeah, I agree. Andrew, hello there. Oh, yeah. Creedence, Clearwater, and Blood and Sweat. I had this young, nothing's old if you just never heard it. And I had a young man where I used to work was sitting there and said, he had just discovered this band. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, man, they're good. I have never heard this music. I said, oh, what is it? So this band is called Creedence Clearwater Revival. Had to bust out laughing. He thought it was a new band. Something coming out of the whatever, dude, you're 40 years behind. But sure, go ahead. Good music. Marshall Tucker Band, Fire on the Mountain. Yeah. Waylon Jennings, We Were the Wild Ones. Bob Seger, Like a Rock. There were a lot of great, great tunes back in the day. Kiss, Loud. Then Sammy Hagar, The Girl Gets Around. I had a bad breakup with a girlfriend, and my blood brother Davy Hobbs knew I was in the dumps, and so he came and picked me up, and we went driving about an hour and a half to Panama City to have a drink, get something to eat, and me get out of this gloom. And he had this great speaker set and everything else, and the Footloose soundtrack had just come out, and the song on there of The Girl Gets Around. We were at probably 125 decibels going down the road. I can still hear that. Oh, yeah. He was my brother. And that song. Deep Purple, yeah. Beethoven, yeah. There's an old song you ain't heard in a long time. Roll Over Beethoven. Chuck Berry. Carl Smith, awesome. Look forward to seeing you down there as well. I'm really looking forward to that. Going down there. Yeah, Led Zeppelin. Yeah, there's a new band for you. Jackson Browne, yeah. The breakup song, Jackson Browne. Rick Springfield. Yeah. $1995. It wasn't that long ago, but it's Eagles. Oh my God, yeah. The Eagles song that really just epitomizes the things these days to me that I play fairly often is a little tune that From Hell Freezes Over called Get Over It. Look that up and check that out. Eagles, Get Over It. And make sure it's really the Eagles singing it. Whenever they got back together and they did the Hell Freezes Over tour, and that was the one they opened up with, was Get Over It. Love it. JB called, did you ever have big hair, Blackie? Yes, Blackie did. When Blackie was climbing his way up the corporate ladder, I had a ponytail that was braided and went down the back of my shirt and went all the way to my belt. And when Blackie's hair was not that way, it was a mane that stood out almost shoulder width. The ladies liked my hair. And Blackie was not a fool. He kept long hair because the ladies liked that hair. So, yeah, that was a long time ago. When I took my wife to meet my grandmother, and back in high school, long, 10 years before we ever got together. And she was talking to my grandmother, and my grandmother showed her a collection of things from my grandfather, where they'd been married over 50 years. And there was a itty bitty, like 3-inch long little ponytail. that he'd come back from World War One, and she had braided it up and cut it off of him and kept it because when she was buried, she wanted to be buried with that ponytail, so a piece of him would go with her. Well, that got my wife hope, and so she wanted my ponytail. You got to understand, graduating high school, I had hair down to my kidneys, and so I loved her deeply, even though we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. I was trying real hard, just wasn't working out, and so we washed my hair real good, conditioned it and all, and she braided it up and cut it off, and so she got that. And then later on, after we got married, when I had to cut my hair for business, she got that ponytail. So that first one was black when I had jet black hair because of part Indian. When I graduated high school, my hair was as white as it is now. So she has a gray one from when I was about 30. And then in my 50s is whenever she got the last one, and that one is snow white. She got all three of those ponytails in a box. So that's a little something you don't see today, but she wants to be buried with a piece of me. That woman needs to be put up for a saint because she put up with Blackie for 35 years. I've been in love with that woman 45 years, but she's put up with me for 35. She needs to be a saint. Dr. Hook. Oh, yeah. Heart. Oh, my God. Heart. I mean, there's so many of them. Charlie Daniels, long hair country boy. Yeah. Yep. There's so much out there. And the fact it still gets airplay 40, 50 years after it came out. You know, that's what really has always gotten me of how the music has stuck through so far. And that's really a testament to how good it was. And I knew a professor in college. He was a music person, and he told me, he said that you know the works of Brahms and Beethoven and you know all of those Schubert and all of those musics, that they were the radical of their day, and that's the reason they had such longevity. And he said, I really feel that rock and roll is going to be the classic music of the 1900s. And so it'll be blues, jazz, and rock and roll. And here we are a quarter of the way into the next century, and they're still playing my era rock and roll. That's heartwarming to know that maybe 500 years from now, some young man or woman will sit and enjoy the same songs that I liked. So, oh yeah, the Man in Black, Johnny Cash. Riverbank Viking. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in so late, 3:20 in the morning. Thank you so much. I don't have a chronograph. My loads for 45 Colt are 255 grain bullet, 30 grains of Pyrex. What do you think I should get out of it? A 5.5 inch barrel 58. Somewhere around 850 to 900 feet per second, at least. Somewhere in there. And that is more than adequate for what that gun is designed for, or for what that cartridge is designed for. Oh, yeah. Tim Parrish, your invite just popped up. Well, at least it's better late than never, right? Euro metal. Oh, my God. Blasted mechanism. Oh, and what's that one out of? Hear the dang song in my head, but they're out of Portugal. And then golly, can't call the name. The blasted mechanism. And then the other one I'm thinking of, I can hear them in my head, but I can't call the name. That's going to bug me tonight. But yeah. And then the Who out of Mongolia and their heavy metal. Yeah. The Wolf Chant and Shug and others. I listen to all kinds of stuff, guys. I'll drive you crazy with my choices. Yeah, JB, we wore Levi jackets and patches of bands and random stuff, art all over it. Yeah. Remember Scorpions. Oh, yeah. Uh, Gorky Park, Russian. Bang. That was one that hit when I was in high school and everybody got into Gorky Park. Bang. Then there was Warlock out of Germany. And Misery Miser out of Japan. All kinds of music. Oh yeah, Black Sabbath. Man, yeah. War Pigs. Dude. Yeah, 40, 50 years. No, it was yesterday. I agree. Who do you like better, the Beatles, the Stones, or the Who? Oh, come on now. That's a challenge right there. All three of them are great bands with great music. All three of those, and I had all the albums, all three of those at one time. So I will have to just respectfully abstain because that's like picking your favorite child. No, 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 no. Preacher man, you're going to try to get to West Virginia. Do you have a description of what you're going to be teaching there at Blackie? At the West Virginia gathering next weekend, I'll be teaching a class and I'll be talking about haversack, knapsack, rucksack, backpack, and talking about how it scales up and etc. So I'm doing a class on how we carry stuff, backpacks, rucksacks, etc. What each one's job is, what the role is, and why we should have the scale up and why. So that's what my class is going to be on up there. Oh yeah, Charlie Daniels Band, Simple Man, dude, that's going to be enshrined somewhere. Pink Floyd, Animals, yeah, Doors. Um, in West, it's going to be Bluestone State Park, I believe is the name of it in West Virginia. Go look up Gather Thing in West Virginia; it'll bring it up. Tennessee Smoky, have a good night. Teutonic Truth, Leonard Skinner. Oh, yeah. Buckeye, look forward to it. Oh, yeah, Buck Owens. Buck Owens is one of the unsung heroes. He had great songs. He had great, great music. He really did. When he got into doing what he haw is really when he kind of stepped around. But I truly believe that he was going to end up being much more if he hadn't gone into the TV. Him and Roy Clark and stuff like that. I think that kind of took him out of the main a little bit. But he was a great country singer. And then, of course, Hank Williams and Hank Williams Jr. from beloved Alabama. He's actually got a place not too far from me up here. Hank Williams Jr., the PD up there at that town talk about one particular morning, there was these loud explosions. And people all up and down this county road were calling the PD and the sheriff's department telling them there's something blew up down here. And after about 2 hours, they sent a couple officers out. And so they went up the dirt road to where Hank Williams Jr. has a hunting camp. And the story goes that there was Hank Williams Jr. and Kid Rock drunk off their butts shooting a 12-pound Napoleon cannon because they love Civil War cannons and antique cannons. And they were shooting that big, huge cannon. That was the explosion they were hearing, was them shooting that cannon. And so they had to get them to agree not to shoot the cannon and rattle all the windows in the neighborhood. But yeah, he's not too he's got a place not too far from you. Oh yeah, Living Color, Guns N' Roses. Oh God, I can see his face. He did Freedom. He was a big thing at one time. He did Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. That was the artist, but the song I like by him is called Freedom. Yep, Tim Pierce. I remember that one. Midnight in Montgomery. Good evening, Bear. Just passing through. Michael Hope. Awesome. Glad they're working out for you. Seven Nations. I remember Seven Nations when they were a bagpipe band and they had electric guitar and a bagpipe. And the guy on the bagpipe could outrun the guy on the electric guitar. I saw them at Grandfather Mountain in Georgia, big Scottish event, and was just impressed. This young man could play a bagpipe like you think it was a synthesizer, and he was outrunning the guitar doing heavy metal with a bagpipe. So it was something to see and hear. I'm here to tell you. Alcohol was involved. It was a Scottish event. Okay, and I was one of the tasters in the whiskey thing. So hey, but it was still really good music. Oh yeah, Grey Wolf. William Wallace is famous for in yelling freedom, but the song "Freedom" by that artist, I can see his face, but I can't call his name right now. George Michael. That's it, James Singer. Thank you. Yep, George Michael. That was a song by him that I liked, was Freedom. And I mean, hey, you know, we had every town seemed to have 4 and 5 radio stations. And whatever your favorite genre was, whether it was country, whether it was rock, I grew up in both. My dad was a country. I mean, country western was a stretch for him. He was Hank Williams Jr., pure country type deal, just short of gospel. And then my grandmother, on my mother's side, she was big into gospel. And so I had to listen to a lot of gospel with her and learned a lot of gospel because of that with her in church and stuff like that. And then, of course, when I got to be coming up and had my own car and had my own radio, of course, and I'm starting to develop a taste for rock and roll because it was a big hair band and stuff like that days. Yeah, Blackfoot. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Jeff, cool. Oh yeah. James, hi there. Yeah, we're about to get off here, James, just a few minutes, but good news is you can back the video up and watch it from the beginning if you want to. Yep, AC/DC. It was a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, yes. And oh Nickelback, Burn It to the Ground. There's a lot of really good songs for getting motivated out there. And of course, all the old trucking songs, because drove trucks, so you fell in love with all the trucker songs. Conway Twitty, Tom T. Hall. It's faster horses, younger women, older whiskey, and more money. Tom T. Hall. That was a great song. Will too. Have a good night. Johnny Horton. Fought all the way, Johnny Reb. Yep. And Battle of New Orleans. C.W. McCall. Teddy Bear. Convoy. And there won't be no country music. There won't be no rock and roll. Because when they take away our country, they'll take away your soul. He wrote that in the mid-'70s, talking about stuff we're looking at now. And then, of course, one of the best remakes I've heard is Disturbed, that did The Sound of Silence. Oh, yeah. The words of the prophets are written on the subway wall. Yep. Oh, yeah. Willie Nelson. God, we're singing about Pancho Villa. Willie Nelson and Wasn't Paycheck. There's a lot of great. Hoyt Axton's I'm a Good Old Rebel. Yeah. Red So Vine, Teddy Bear. Oh, yeah. That was to make them cry at 2 o'clock in the morning away from home for so long. Yeah. Kathy Mattea, 18 Wheels and a Dozen Roses. Yep. Oh, yeah. About a Disturbed's cover that was it, man. I mean, really. It had as much impact in modern day as that song had back then. It really did. And I heard it when it came out back then, and I heard Disturbed, and the two I like Disturbed better. Boy Named Sue. Johnny Cash could be so serious and so much fun. I got to see one of his concerts in Atlanta back in the 70s. And actually, I got to see about half the concert. And then I had to leave because the person I was with had kind of borrowed mom and dad's car for us to go up there, and kind of got scared we were going to get in trouble, so we had to come back. But we saw that. So. Seven Spanish Angels. Yeah. There's one that'll get you. Mitchell, what's your favorite trucker song? It's either going to be 18 Wheels and a Dozen Roses or Alabama, Roll On. One of them. And then Big Mama. Yeah, from way back when. And moving on from, I think, Paycheck back in the 70s. Jesse, have a good night. Oh, yeah, Pantera. Dude. Yeah, you got to listen to Pantera. And Slayer. And, oh, man. Wasp. Oh, man, I ain't thought about a lot of them bands in a while. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm gonna end on this one because we're gonna have to call it quits. But the judge, tell me about the good old days. There's a group not far from me that we did live in history with called the Whitewater Long Hunters, and one of the members' wife, um, she had this voice, sounded like a 10-year-old girl singing, and she was so shy though. And so you got 70, 80, 100 people out here, and we're all around a big bonfire and having a great time and everything. Her husband would come sit right in front of her and take his guitar and start playing Tell Me About the Good Old Days, and she'd be too scared to say something. When he got to the end of the song, he'd just start over. Until finally, she would close her eyes and they'd get forehead to forehead. Always crap gets me, guys. And she would sing, Grandpa, Tell Me About the Good Old Days. There wouldn't be a dry eye in the house. Everybody would shut up to hear this. You know, and if somebody was drunk, going, well, shut up. We only get to hear her sing this once a year. You know, and there wouldn't be a dry eye in the house. Every one of us would be squalling. Love that. And she'd only sing it once, and then she couldn't do it again, you know. But yeah, I can still hear her singing that. Well, guys, it's been an hour and 45 minutes. We're going to call it quick. Great input tonight, guys. Thank you so much for all the stuff and us talking, and thanks for bringing, oh yeah, the police, yeah, rat, yeah. Love it. Really do, guys. Now, next week, I will not be on because I'm going to West Virginia, and Thursday we're in travel route. So it'll be 2 weeks till we have this again, but I will be doing it. And guys, thank you so much for all the help. If you're looking for military surplus, down there in the description box, I put in Kaufman's Military Surplus. Contact them. Tell them Blackie sent you. They'll hand select for you. And if you're wondering about ordering a rucksack, haversack, or something, I'm cutting off tomorrow. This will be the end of this run. I've got just a few little slots left. And holler at me there, and I'll see if I can get you in tomorrow, because tomorrow is when I'll actually get on the computer, and go through them. But God bless you guys. Thank you so much for all the support, and I'll see you next time. Till then, safe journeys, guys.